Hi everybody, this is a tutorial about how to use a participant ID in your survey URL. Now this might sound a little bit complicated. With the URL we mean the line that is at the top of your browser, and that is the link that people click. And normally if you send out a PsyToolkit survey, you have the URL with the survey ID in that URL. But you can also include participant ID. You do not need to, but some people want that. Say for example you have 10 unique IDs that you want to send out to specific participants. If that is what you want to do, I would say it's a little bit complicated maybe, or it's a little bit more, yeah, it's not necessary. It's only used in specific studies, but people have asked me to explain that in a short tutorial, and here we are. I'm going to explain you how to do that. Now currently I'm in front of the window. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller, but I thought it's maybe nice if you see me talking to you, so I'm making myself a little bit smaller here in the corner. I'm going to put myself here so that you can see my face. But you know, I'm here so that you know that. And I'm going to I logged in, so I click login. By the way, I have sometimes videos here. Here an interesting video about the most famous theory in psychology, maybe Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you're interested in that, click that. And please also, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. That really helps the PsyToolkit channel. So here we are. First, we are going to set up a new survey. Now let's call this survey just test survey, because it's a test, right? So, and I'm going to create that. And as you know, in your surveys, you always get some example questions. Now we can leave them in, or we can make a completely new survey, but let's keep them in because ultimately we need some test questions, and we are going to add and that's just maybe the survey that we're going to do. Let's do that. And then now these two example questions is a radio question and a check question that you always get by default, and it's maybe something that you can use in tests. And let's save that. Now in order to start your survey, you know, you need to compile it one time, and you need to make it online, so say change the survey status, and then you get what we call the URL, right? And if we click here, we can run this. And by the way, there is always this important technical requirement for your computer. I mean, you could argue it's not really necessary. Some people like it, so especially it's probably useful if you want to do video capture or sound capture, or check that people have a keyboard. If you don't find it interesting, realize that if you go back to the tab, you can switch off those things. So let's do that today. Let's call this my test. We'll call this survey this is what people see, right? And let's, you know, let's see what this is going to be important. I'm going to explain that in a moment, but just first the basics, right? So you have the option not to, well, we want a welcome screen. I think a welcome screen is really good, right? But we can leave this out, the technical requirements and the data protection statement as well. I mean, you know, because you could ask people in a consent statement anyway about it. If that, but for now, that's not important. And well, let's call it, this is my test survey. That's what will be shown. We don't need all this other stuff here. Contact information. You know, I can put my name here, email associated. You know, you have your email and so on. You know the stuff, but you know, whenever you have a new survey, you need to quickly go through this. At the end, you can say thank you. You have an end URL. That's not relevant to this either. We don't need a real keyboard, so I don't need to click. Okay, click save, and I go back. I have this this nice pop-up guide here that helps me to quickly go to the section where I want to go. And let me now click it, and then my welcome screen looks like this. So it's this, and also it would look really good on the phone as well. And then I can start my survey, and we have these 2 questions and so on. So that's the survey then. Right, let's close these tabs here. Now we come to what we really want to talk about, and that is having a unique ID. Now, what does that mean? If we go to the online stuff here, we have the in and out variables, and they are important in this. In variables can be things like an ID that you want to set in your URL. So I'm going to do that as something that is coming in as a variable that I want to use and save in my spreadsheet. So I've done that. I save this. Click Save Survey. Go back to compile. Now that's all I need. So now when I run my survey, this is normally what I give to my participants, right? I can copy this to the clipboard. Okay. Now if I type that here, I can also use an additional parameter, and I'm going for that use the and sign. ID is, well, I make up a number, maybe ID 101. So if we look at this here for a moment, so you see we have the URL. So there is you need to have this. The first parameter is s equals, and then you have like sort of like a code. That is the code of the survey that is specific to PsyToolkit, and then we have the end sign, the ampersand, that separates it then from another parameter, ID equals 101. Don't use spaces there, that's not allowed. If you use this, so if we run this, now we start our survey, and you see in the URL it keeps this ID equals 101, and that is the unique ID. Now let's download this. If I download this, I will be able, and I now, if I go to my, let me see, to download, if I look at current data files, you have the participants, the questions. You don't see the ID in here, but if you download your data, prepare files for downloads, or you know that, right? So you need to check whether they're ready. So it is download in a zip file. Now there's one file ready. File, let's say okay. So now you see this here. If I look at my, I ran 2 participants, right? The first one without an ID, that was just this when I started for the first time. And if I look at the data here, we have an ID. For the first one, it was not recorded. But so if you run the survey without that ID in the URL line, you don't see it. But if you do it, that variable is stored in your output data file. And this is exactly what you want. And later you say, okay, I have sent out a URL with ID in the URL line, and in my data it has been stored next to all the other stuff. So very simple. Now just also to go over that, every participant actually has a unique ID. This is it starts with S dot, and then you have this very what we call a universal ID, and then it ends on text, because that is this is also a data file that you can download. Then we have the answers to the questions, and then we have the ID here, and we see when it started and when it ended. Right, now let me I'm not going to save this. Let me know if you found it useful. I hope it explained it. I think what's difficult here, I'm going, if you find it useful, let me know in the comments below. But I think the main thing is here that you have a URL line that you can add. Go back in the video a little bit and see what it looked like. You can send out then different IDs. And now the next thing is I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're back here in this PsyToolkit window. I zoomed in a little bit. So now I just want to quickly show you how this works here one more time. So we have the survey. If you send this to people, right, make sure that if you copy this link for somebody to send to someone, you can, for example, make a Word document or something like that, and then you can copy that, and then you can, if we let's do no automatic spell checking here. So we have the link, right? So you have participant 1, so you can just add an end sign, and an ID is, say, for example, 101, right? So then you have your link, and then you can say I copy and I paste this, and I can make person 2 and person 3, and now I can send out, I can copy and paste these links and send them via email to my participants. And that's the idea. And if you do that, you have specific IDs that are unique to specific participants, and then you can send it out to your participants. Now let me just finally say this: you do not need to do this. I personally, for example, I rarely use this, so occasionally this can be very useful, but it really depends on your setup. And for certain technical studies, or for specific studies where you have specific IDs that need to be sent out to specific people, this can be useful. I would say for most projects I probably wouldn't use it, because I just use the built-in ID that I have anyway. This is also useful if you have studies that repeat one, where you have the same participant, say, once every week. Now, I hope that was useful. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. If you want to know more about this, if you want to know more details about this, please send me an email and ask me. And I hope that was helpful, and goodbye.